What's up, y'all? You're listening to the Eagles Monday press conference recap. I'm Alex Miller from the Eagle, joined always by the one and only Travis L. Brown. Travis,
you almost couldn't get that out.
Yeah.
You said the L, and then you looked at me and you almost giggled.
Well, the one thing that Jimbo Fisher got out today was word on Connor Weigman's ankle, the thing that everyone's wanting to know. Said he's day-to-day, and give us a little more scoop on that, Travis.
He said he's day-to-day, he's healing up, it's a little sprain, a little bit of swelling, hopefully it'll come down. That was his kind of main quote, then went on to clarify that it wasn't a high ankle sprain. A high ankle sprain is, I'm going to pretend like I'm a doctor here and say it's, when ligaments and things separate from the bone higher up and those have to kind of heal back on. It's what Tua Tagovailoa had a couple years ago, and they cleaned it up with a little bit of surgery, non-invasive surgery, and he came back a couple weeks later. I believe that's why A&M faced Jaden Milroe. No, that was Bryce Young. Sorry, I'm getting my Alabama quarterbacks confused. But Tua had it.
Yeah, they did the little loop-de-doop thing on his ankle over there in Birmingham.
Yeah, and so it's not that. It seems to be just a normal common sprain, which seems to be better news for Connor Weigman and the Aggies because that would be a much quicker return time to the field. So, it'll be interesting. I want to take a brief tangent here on the same thing, but a little bit different. When you saw... This is something we were talking about in the press box. When you saw Connor Weigman limping his way from the training tent all the way up the tunnel, did you actually think he was sock-footed on one of his feet?
Yeah, and people said he didn't have his shoes on, but when you go back and you look, he's clearly wearing the cleats. It's just taped heavily taped.
Yeah. We were just laughing about that after the game because it did look like not only did they make him limp all the way to the locker room, they did it without putting his shoe back on.
Get a card for this man. He's your starting quarterback, for goodness sake.
But there's a point to that, and that is the fact too that if you are allowing your quarterback to walk his way all the way to the locker room, you would think it wouldn't be a high ankle sprain or any kind of fracture, which of course they knew after the game it wasn't a fracture. The x-rays came back negative then. So I always thought that it was going to be better news than bad news because of the fact that he walked all the way to the locker room.
Well, and as someone who has had a high ankle sprain twice,
ankle sprain expert over here.
I'm a novice, but I've been through it, okay? And let me just say that the second time I did it, I legit thought I broke my ankle, and I could not walk. And they said it was a high ankle sprain. I ended up wearing a boot for 2 weeks. I think you probably remember this.
Yeah.
This is about 3 years ago.
Yeah, this wasn't in your football playing days.
No, it was not.
Was in your
I was playing
days.
in the yard with my dog. And so, as someone who's been through that in a very different scenario, the fact that Connor was able to walk was a very positive sign, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
Now...
And he had a shoe on. That's also a positive sign, too.
I had a shoe on, too. Still couldn't walk. Point is, it definitely seems like it could have been a lot worse. But it remains to be seen if he's going to be able to... I'm not going to act like I know, but I would highly doubt he's going to play this weekend against Arkansas.
Yeah, Jimbo didn't give any direct answer on who would be the starter, but it seemed like indications were pointing to the fact that he wasn't going to be good to go. It's speculation, not anything Jimbo said. But you look at the game last week, Max Johnson comes in, and he gets the job done. Yeah. The offense moved better under Max Johnson in that instance. I'm not saying he's the better quarterback, but it definitely moved better against Auburn at the second half.
They had touchdown drives first 2 times out. They were moving the ball on the third drive. The penalties killed that one. And then from there, little bit of a fizzle out, but then, got the ground game running at the end and got the touchdown that really put it on ice, call it church. So, Max is a veteran. Like, he's been here before. Heck, he led the Aggies to a victory over Arkansas last year. Mm-hmm. So if you're A&M, this is not an ideal situation, but the sky isn't falling at the same time.
Exactly. So I think it was interesting to hear from Jake Johnson, Max Johnson's brother, the tight end, sophomore tight end. Weird that the pair of them are the same classification now because of all of Max Johnson's injuries and red shirts and whatnot. But getting a little peek into the fact that they are a pair of guys who've always competed together, always played sports together for most of their lives. The last time that they had a touchdown pass and catch was in the state finals back when they were both in high school. I think he said it was Jake's 10th grade year and Max's senior year. And just the fact that they have a really athletic, competitive family helps with that chemistry that they have between the two of them.
Hey, I'm curious if anybody has a clip on, Snapchat or something crazy like that of his dad just allegedly ripping his shirt off when they got the touchdown. 'Cause that'd be pretty funny.
Yeah, with his social media presence, I'm surprised he didn't have something on there.
I know.
He's a TikTok all-star.
Well, two wholesome guys, Max and Jake Johnson, pretty well-spoken, pretty polished. And yeah, I mean, Jake has emerged as the go-to tight end with Donovan Green getting hurt before the season. He talked about Donovan a little bit today and just wishing him well, a speedy recovery. A&M knows what kind of guy Donovan could be down the road. But yeah, I mean, how unique. I mean, I can't think of a brother duo that played for A&M in that kind of capacity, quarterback, kind of a receiver.
They have the Crownovers.
They have the Crownovers
on the team as well right now.
Yeah. And
did any of the Matthews brothers play at the same time?
Oh gosh, yeah.
I have to go back and look at.
Mike and Jake would have been because Luke was a lot younger, but Mike and Jake may have had a little bit of crossover.
What about the Jokels?
Yeah, the Jokels played at the same time,
but it wasn't receiver quarterback.
Yeah, and Matt didn't play much because of a guy named Johnny Manziel.
Right.
But so yeah, definitely a little interesting dynamic there. And our screen's tripping out on us again. We'll need to get that fixed.
You just keep talking.
Yeah, get that fixed. Like the Aggies are trying to get their run blocking fixed a little bit this coming week. I know, and that was something that Jimbo talked about today. How you mentioned it, and I'm gonna give it to you, Travis. You were right. Le'Veon Moss had a really good game on Saturday and showed what he's about. And but you take away a couple of those long runs. A&M they didn't even average 3 yards a carry for most of the game. Like it was hard for them to get consistent, decent runs against Auburn until they started to wear them down in the second half.
Yeah, I was looking up and I don't have it pulled up exactly right now, but on Pro Football Focus, their run grades were not good.
No.
But I do think that Le'Veon Moss, I was having a conversation with someone else today, and we've mentioned it on the our post-game recap as well. Don't pin me in here of saying that Le'Veon Moss is going to be the best running back of that group. I do think Ruben Owens, when it's all said and done, will be the best running back of that group. But I think Le'Veon Moss will be the best running back this season.
Okay.
And the most consistent running back this season because he does have that combination of strength and speed that the other two guys don't have. Amari Daniels has just breakaway speed, but he's not a very strong running back. You have Ruben Owens, who has good vision, some good, lateral cutting ability, and he has speed, but he's not really strong either.
He's pretty young.
But
he is smooth.
But Le'Veon Moss has, I think really the run that impressed me the most from him was early in the game when he hit a brick wall right there at the line of scrimmage on a 3rd and short and spun out, bounced outside, and then was able to pick up the 3 yards to get that 3rd down. That's something that good teams, when in 2020, the offenses was very different than the one they have now. Very different. But the thing that made that 2020 team good is that they stayed ahead of schedule. They didn't get too many penalties, get behind schedule, or take too many tackles for loss. And when they got into 3rd and short, they converted. And that's just the hallmarks of good teams is having the ability on 3rd and short to convert. I think Le'Veon Moss gives you that ability more times than not.
So Amari Daniels, comparing the running backs to Cars. Oh, did you get it?
Yeah, the run
Okay.
the run grade on PFF this week was 62.3, which is they had a 61 against Miami. That was the lowest this season, but a 63, they color code things, and that is in the yellow, kind of starting to get to the spots. Not a great spot. There were 79 against ULL, 71 against New Mexico. So definitely the running game is something that it's a little bit of a question mark right now. I don't think it's a worry question mark, but what is this position group going to be this year?
Okay, getting to my car comparison. So Amari Daniels, he's kind of like a roadster, right? Ruben Owens, he's like a Corvette. But Le'Veon, he's like a real muscle car, like a Charger or a Challenger kind of guy.
Yes.
There you go.
Yes. I'm not a car guy, so
drive a truck.
I drive a truck. I kind of drive what gets me to point A to point B kind of thing. I'm not a big car guy.
That's okay, Travis. Well, hey, we had a couple other injury updates too today.
Yeah, Jordan Gilbert, he posted on social media last week a picture of him in what appeared to be a hospital gown, hospital bed. He did have surgery on his shoulder, and Jimbo just classified him as being out for a long time. So he probably won't be. But Bryce Anderson,
Noah Thomas.
No, not Noah Thomas. Well, I'm talking about at safety. Bryce Anderson, Jacoby Matthews. Those guys have done a pretty good job over the last 2 games.
Jacoby has had 2 pretty good games.
Yeah, and then Noah Thomas, he missed last week. He was dinged up against ULM. He also had the death of his older brother, which he addressed on social media today, and then Jimbo Fisher was asked about it after he posted on social media and just said that they're supporting him. Didn't specify if it was getting a little dinged up or if it was the death in the family that kind of held him out of the game last week, but said he should be good to go. He's back and good to go for Arkansas this weekend.
Yeah, I mean, A&M's going to welcome him back for sure. I mean, Arkansas is going to be they're an interesting team, and we'll get into them later this week when we talk with some of their guys. I'm sure we're going to try and get Bob Holt on the podcast, of course, the one, the only Bob Holt. But yeah, I mean, it's a game that for whatever reason always ends up being wacky and crazy. A&M survived odd year Auburn. Now they're going to try and get another win over Arkansas.
Yeah, it is always a weird game. We talked about how weird Auburn games, A&M and Auburn games are. I think that's underrated weird because the A&M Arkansas games have been weird, like in your face weird, and in your face wonky. There was the oink doink, a couple years ago.
That was last year.
Last year. Oh, you're right. Man, they all run together.
And in that
however
game,
many.
They had KJ Jefferson reaching for the touchdown, and then the handoff to Damani Richardson.
Yeah, there's just ridiculous things happen. So there are all that kind of stuff to look forward to. Just trying to go, brought up again a little bit this week with Jimbo Fisher, talking about him being on the field for that. It wasn't really a scoop and score, fumble recovery score. And someone asked what was going through your mind when you saw the defender running at you, and he said, "How the hell did he get the ball?" Because he thought the play was over. He had come down the field. He said he was turned looking for Max Johnson because he was trying to tell Max Johnson something to do on the field, and then the guy just runs by him. And so, still not sure why he wasn't flagged for that, but I guess.
Hey, I will give Jimbo this. He did acknowledge multiple times he should not have been on the field.
Correct.
He owned up to that, and he said, "Yeah, that'll probably be part of what they send in back to us when we send in some of our calls that they give to them." So
he did have take some issue with some of the holding calls that were called against them in that game. He did mention that they sent those off to the SEC. That is just another thing to say that every week teams package what they think were questionable calls and send them off to the SEC to get a secondary ruling. nothing really becomes of that. They just come back and say, yeah, we missed that one, or yeah, we didn't miss that one, and then you move on with your life. But they did send a couple of holding calls in and are waiting back to hear from what the calls were on that.
Well, Travis, we got anything else before we wrap this show up?
These allergens that are going around right now can just absolutely go die. But other than that, we're good. I have the itchiest eyes right now.
I'm so sorry
I know.
to hear that.
I know. So I'm just been blinking over here the whole video, so I feel like if anybody's thinks I'm, going crazy, it's the allergies. But, well, there's lots of other reasons, but the allergies is one of them.
Well, hey, the Texas Rangers are in first place of the AL West, and that'll do it for this episode of the Eagles Monday press conference recap. We'll see you next week.